Welcome to Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and today we're going to be talking about the legendary 1948 film, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, which won 3 Oscars on a total of 4 nominations at the 21st Academy Awards. Uh, you and I fell in love with this movie about a year ago, year and a half ago. I don't know. It's been a long time since we saw it for the first time, but it was through this show. It was episode 16. We talked about Hamlet from 1948, which won Best Picture. Um, that's one of the biggest disagreements I've ever had with the Academy is giving Hamlet the biggest award of the night. So what we do on this show for Best Picture winners usually is we'll do the Best Picture showdown and we'll rank the Best Picture nominees, personally from 5 to 1. So since we didn't do that for Hamlet way back, this is early stages of Oscar Sunday. We didn't have that format yet. I wanted to go ahead and do that at some point in this episode later, so you and I can kind of clear the air about our our feelings with Hamlet. That includes Johnny Belinda, The Snake Pit, The Red Shoes, and of course Treasure of the Sierra Madre. So it's gonna be fun to talk about those movies. All the other four are really good, and Hamlet just kind of doesn't belong. So you can guess what my number 5 is, but it's gonna be cool to talk about those and just kind of honor them the right way, because we didn't really get to in episode 16. But I remember coming out of episode 16 and just being like, I just added a lot of cool stuff under my belt, some really good 40s movies, and it's one of my favorite Oscar years.
Yeah, this was a year that I think surprised the hell out of us. I know we were both kind of like, oh, Shakespeare, it's going to be hit or miss. But the other 4 films were the big surprise of that episode. And we had such a blast talking about those because they were all films that were very new to us. I hadn't heard of 3 of them, and now they're in my repertoire. They're fantastic movies. So I'm excited to kind of go back to that year proper and really dig into it.
Yeah. Like you bought me a Criterion edition of The Red Shoes just because you knew like I become a huge fan of it from watching it through this show. And that's the stuff we live for, is just kind of adding stuff to your arsenal that not only is cool to be able to have an opinion on, but it's actually like a personal favorite. I love when that happens. And tomorrow is my birthday, and so Sierra Madre is a very important film to me, a movie that I was like ashamed that I hadn't seen yet when we talked about it way back. But I'm glad it's with me now, and you bought me that movie as well on DVD. It sits on my shelf proudly. Next to, this is funny, I was just putting it back on my shelf earlier today because I watched it today. It sits next to this is funny. I have a collection that I've had since I was younger of all the Transformer movies, like the Shia LaBeouf ones, and then so it's that, and then Treasure of the Sierra Madre, because I have them in alphabetical order. And then next to that is this DVD I bought for my daughter Willow, which is a Trolls. So it's because it belongs in that TR section of the alphabetic, alphabetizing my DVDs. And so Treasure of the Sierra Madre is wedged in between just stuff I don't really care about. I haven't let go of that Transformers thing, and Trolls is again for my daughter. And it's just funny. When I was putting it away, I was like, oh shit. And you find that out when you have like, a ton of movies like we do. You just kind of like, these are next to each other. What the hell?
I love that though. I love when you have that variety, when you like, it's not like I just buy classic movies or I just buy blockbusters. It's I buy anything that tickles my fancy. And it's just, if I like it, it's going to be in this collection. Those are the best collections to have.
Yeah, there's some movies I own that I don't like, again, Transformers, that I just don't care for, but I don't mind it being on my shelf. Who knows when I'm going to want to watch it for the show, or just for, shits and giggles. I like watching kind of, average movies every now and again just for fun. So yeah, I'm with you. It's good to have kind of like a versatile collection, and I think we both take pride in that. But Treasure of the Sierra Madre, one of my favorite movies to own. It's probably my favorite movie of the 40s. I would have to really look at that, but I just adore it. And so it's like a long time coming doing this episode since episode 16. I knew we were going to do it at some point. we like to give a break in between doing the same year.
Yeah.
So it felt right that we have this much breathing room to, kind of let these movies, create. We get to really create some kind of story with them as fans, and I feel a sincere story that I have with Sierra Madre. I've watched it, 5 times now within the past year and a half. It's just something I can't shut up about when I get going. So this is just one of those episodes that was gonna come at any point. You and I, though, we decided, since this isn't a proper Best Picture showdown, we're gonna rank the movies later, but this isn't really a Best Picture showdown because it's not Hamlet. John Huston, the director of Sierra Madre, you and I both decided to do a little bit of homework on him because he's one of the American greats, a total titan when it comes to filmmaking. And Sierra Madre, depending on how you look at it, could be his masterpiece. I went back and rewatched The Maltese Falcon, which is just also a masterpiece, a great, great movie. And then I watched The Asphalt Jungle, which blew me away. And I love John Huston, but what I really came out of that movie with was Sterling Hayden. Was like, oh my God, I love Sterling Hayden even more. and right now he has this huge collection on Criterion with a bunch of his movies with his performances on there. So he's got my attention again. But that's the homework I did. What about you?
I also watched The Asphalt Jungle, which was riveting, and I was like, wait a minute, is that Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah, her first role. Yeah.
Definitely felt like a predecessor to The Killing. And I'm not just saying that because Sterling Hayden's in it, but it's definitely one of those perfect heist goes completely wrong kind of movies. And I love that. I love seeing the prototype films for that kind of setup. I watched Wise Blood from 1979. Wasn't that into that one. I wanted to like it. I know.
Damn it. I told you to watch that one too. Yeah.
I loved Brad Dourif. I think he's fantastic. I mentioned in my review that I love him as Chucky. I love him, his horror stuff, but he has such great dramatic roots that I really wish he'd do more drama because he is so good.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get into the concept. I was like, so he's trying to create a church without religion, but he's doing all this religious shit that's impeding his life. It seemed kind of aimless. Like I was waiting for the point.
Yeah. That's for sure. It's a bit not convoluted because it's not like there's too much happening, but there's in some cases not enough happening or it doesn't add up. I mean, he's completely lost his mind, that character. And what's his name? Moats or
Hazel?
That movie. Hazel Moats. I can't remember what his. Yeah,
I think it's Hazel Moats. That sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah. Brad Dourif. He's just like wonderful. It's a really cool cast. Really, really interesting people show up in that movie, and I like it a lot. I like movies about people like trying to step into like the church, that realm of stuff. It reminds me of Elmer Gantry and There'll Be Blood, and I really like that one. 1979 is such a cool year for movies. But I understand. I understand why you didn't like it. But Brad Dourif is worth your time no matter what.
Yeah, of course. That was what I did for now. I wanted to watch more, but honestly, it's just hard to find the time.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
But I've seen The Maltese Falcon a couple times, and that is such a brilliant. I think it's his debut.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like what a hell of a way to step onto the film scene with something like that. I mean, Jesus Christ. And his career stretches from the 40s to the 80s. So like we get to see the evolution of like culture through John Huston's films, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. Not a lot of filmmakers can boast that.
That one's freakishly good. I just totally forgot. I remember liking it the first time I saw it a few years back, and I thought it was good, but now I'm, it's great. It's a great movie. And maybe Bogey's best stuff, he's lights out in that movie.
I don't know. I think we're going to be talking about Bogey's best stuff once we get into the meat of this episode. There's something just electrifying about Bogey and Sierra Madre that's unparalleled, man.
Dobbs is the man. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, we have done the African Queen in the past.
Yeah. Not crazy about that one. I think both leads are great, and Bogey is wonderful, but I don't know. That one's a little bit more dull than I wanted it to be.
That's fair enough. I like the African Queen. I don't know what it is. I think it's just their chemistry is so like strong that it just draws me in.
I think I gave it a 7 or it's decent. It's worth your time, but not like I don't think it's gonna blow anybody's socks off, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think that's all that I've seen, from not counting Huston's performance in Chinatown, which is just so fucking sinister and creepy.
You haven't seen Sergeant York?
I watched clips from Sergeant York in middle school when we were doing World War I, but I've never actually sat down and watched the whole movie.
That one's really good. Yeah, you would love that movie.
Oh, I know. It's Gary Cooper, and a biopic about a World War I hero. I would love that movie.
And John Huston, early John Huston, He does that in Maltese Falcon the same year. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what's wrong with this guy? It's lost. It's
amazing.
No, he is incredible. Like Connor, like you said, he lasted until the 80s. He died in 1987, and of course, there's the real cool story with him and his dad in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Walter Huston plays Howard, the prospector, which is has to be some kind of influence for the prospector in Toy Story 2, right? He's got to be. I watched that today too. I was like, wait a minute.
He's the definitive like when you think of a prospector, that's what you think of, white beard, kind of, yeehaw dancing. Like he's he's the prospector. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if like what we think of as the stereotypical prospector, does it even come from like the history books, or does it come from Treasure of the Sierra Madre?
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff comes from movies like this that are just powerful. I think who knows how accurate, like Gold Hat and the Bandits are, but they're good enough for me. They sell me on it. We don't need no stinking badges. Like, yeah, I can get down with that. They probably never said shit like that, but I'm cool that it's awesome. It's Sierra Madre does this thing that I love, where it teeters between being ultra realistic and then also being a blockbuster, being a proper movie, being something that's staged for entertainment. They filmed a lot of it on location, but also they filmed a lot of it on set. So like, I like that combination of like understanding we're making a movie, we have to entertain people, we have to keep a good pace, but we're also going to be a little bit different. We're going to be a little bit grittier than what the other stuff that's coming out. So I love when movies do that. They like take that little plunge, but they don't go completely off the rails, and you just get this kind of lost movie that has no idea what it's trying to say. I think Sierra Madre knows exactly what it's trying to say over and over and over, and I love that about it.
Well, it needs to stay grounded, or else there's nothing to connect to, and it does that through the characters. These guys who are just realistic, down on their luck people who stumble onto the find of the century, and it fundamentally changes them. I mean, we've seen that happen. I believe that, and God, it's just so. Again, going back to like The Killing, just nobody wins. Like it's just a complete clusterfuck because nobody trusts anybody. I love movies when like the heist goes great and then the aftermath is earth shattering, and this is that.
Yeah. When I watch Sierra Madre, it gives me that exact feeling that I get when I watch Reservoir Dogs, where I'm like, man, I'm home. I'm like, this is the kind of film that I need, that I want. Asphalt Jungle. You pointed out The Killing. I think like Heat is one of my favorite. Thief. I love those movies that just kind of like some shit gets fucked and everybody's like out for themselves at some point, and I just love it. It's just human nature. And with Sierra Madre, more than all the other ones, they're telling you what's going to happen at the very beginning of the movie. They tell you Howard tells you, that sometimes water is more important than gold when you get up there, and the problems start when the piles are too big, and like I love all that stuff, like when he's telling them what's going to happen and you're just still along for the ride. It's very cool. Yeah, John Huston, I would say Sierra Madre and Maltese Falcon are probably the two that I see. They kind of stand in a different place. They're both arguably masterpieces, and Asphalt Jungle, very good. African Queen, solid. I like Wise Blood. Just get, Sergeant York's good. Got more stuff to watch for sure, though. He's got such a cool filmography.
Yeah, he's a guy I want. Like when I have some time, some really like a good chunk of spare time, I want to just get lost in John Huston's career. He has such an amazing, eclectic group of films that just range from drama, comedy, heist. Like he goes all over the map, and I want to check those out.
Me too, man. Another guy that I can't get enough of, and thankfully through this show we're getting a lot more of his stuff and being able to have conversations about him, is Humphrey Bogart. He's so good. There's nobody like him now. I text you that about Sterling Hayden as well, where it's just like, dude, these guys that they have balls the size of softballs, and they're like, they have a gravitas that just you don't see today. There's no one like nearly as masculine or as like daunting on the screen as these guys were. It's just a different era for male performances. It's not saying it's better or worse. I just dig it. It's different, and I dig it. And Bogart kind of stands in a class of his own. His eyes just tell you everything that's happening, and he's got something going on in Sierra Madre that I cannot get enough of. But he's one of those guys that I've always been fascinated by because of the, he dies in his 50s. He died at age 57, only like 9 years after Sierra Madre comes out. So you just wonder, what else would this guy have done, in the later stages of his life? If he would have been around during, the 60s and 70s, you just wonder like what directors he would have worked with. Would he have kept working with John Huston? What else would they have done together? Would he have been in Wise Blood? Like who knows? And that stuff really, really bothers me because I really, really like him, and I wish he would have been around a little bit longer. He was nominated for Best Actor in a Lead Role 3 times, got 1 win. The win was for African Queen, 1951. The 2 nominations were Casablanca, 1942, and The Cane Mutiny, 1954. All 3 of those movies he's just crushing it in all 3 of those movies, just absolutely crushing it.
Oh, The Cane Mutiny. What a great kind of, not last role, but like leading up to the end. That was one of his final roles. And he plays such a shit, but you get it. Like he's mentally unfit for this job. And I just love the way they have to prove it, and how like the way that movie unfolds is really smart. Bogey was in a class all his own. I mean, we've seen a lot of his work through this show now, and I loved seeing him go like, head to head with Cagney in, I think it was Angels with Dirty Faces. He has this weird charisma about him. Like I believe he could do anything. He was, a character actor before that was even a thing. And I think, that's impressive. He was a pioneer. Total pioneer. I think there's a reason, Cagney's a great example. That's a good guy. Cagney, for people who are crazy about movies, they might, know those 2 names as equals, but there's something about Bogart. It's probably, the fact that he was in fucking Casablanca, like one of the films, in film history. People know his name without seeing his work. People know who he is. They know of him as if he's like one of the fucking Beatles. He just had that. He has that. He has that same thing that Meryl Streep has, that Katharine Hepburn had. Jack Nicholson. Those people that, like, you didn't even have to see what they did. You know who they are, and that's just power. It's just sheer power. But when you do watch him, you're like, I get it. I fucking get it. And yeah, I was into him before we started the show, but this obviously catapulted him into a different stratosphere for me. He's James Frazier, in Angels with Dirty Faces, and he's fucking good in that. It doesn't take long for him to take over a scene or a moment of the movie. No, and when he's dominating it, like in the role of Sam Spade, I mean, just of course he's going to figure it out. Of course, no one's going to get one over on this guy. And then, as Dobbs, he kind of brings that same charm, but with like on the opposite side, like he's using it for evil this time. And it's just so cool to see that range in the 40s. Classic cinema is never going to get old. It's never going to be, insignificant or unclear. It deserves to stay in the spotlight forever. And I'm so glad we get to bring it, treat it with the same gravitas we would treat like the Lord of the Rings. Like everything means the same to us. And I like that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, today, I told you I watched Sierra Madre, I watched Toy Story 2, and I watched A Bug's Life. I watched those 3 movies today. I was off work and just having fun, watching shit. And I'll share more thoughts about Sierra Madre later for sure. But like, I look at those 2 animated movies as like, they're like both 9s for me, 9 out of 10s. And then I'll, go back and watch, fucking Johnny Belinda or The Red Shoes. And like, those are also 9s, it's just how I feel. That's just how I feel about it. There's no pigeonholing with both of us. We just kind of take each film for what it is. And I think, I don't know. I think that's the right way to do it. Give each film their space, and talk about them. And it's changed my life for watching movies when I got over that hump of, black and white and watching old stuff, and they all talk like this, they all have this, this pace to their voice. It's just awesome. It's just a different time, and very, very much worth kind of finding your own stuff. That's my favorite thing. I will say last thing about Bogart. Have you seen High Sierra?
No, I have not.
That one, yeah, I think you'd like that one a lot. He plays Roy Earl. That's 1941 as well. Awesome performance from him in that one. I mean, he's got so many, but there's those ones that are personal, that you're like, I like that one. Like Angels with Dirty Faces is definitely a personal one. Like not everybody's gonna be like, yeah, he's amazing in that. But you and I, he stuck out.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll check out High Sierra. 2 that have been on my radar for some time now are Key Largo and The Big Sleep. I gotta watch those.
Big Sleep. Yeah, I haven't seen Largo, but Big Sleep is real good. Yeah. He's got like 90 acting credits, and he died when he was 57. So just who knows what else he could have done, what else he could have tacked on and added to his resume. He was a completely different breed, freak of nature, very prolific, and rest in peace always to him. Next guy, this is the other performer that has some Oscar attention, and that would be Walter Huston, John Huston's dad. Sheesh, this dude. What he's doing in Sierra Madre is bonkers, and I'm very glad he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in Sierra Madre as Howard. Bogey, it's really a shame he wasn't even nominated. That makes no sense to me as Dobbs. That's like one of the ultimate, what the fuck were you watching? But they gave Walter the win. So it's like they clearly saw it, and it was up for Best Picture. So like, what did Bogey not do for you? Like, how is that not up? It's really amazing. But Walter Huston also nominated for Dodsworth, 1936, All That Money Can Buy, 1941, and Yankee Doodle Dandy, 1942. So Yankee Doodle Dandy. He's no slouch when it comes to Oscar nominations, and of course that one win. So it's pretty cool to think about John being behind the camera, and he's like, that's my dad. He's fucking crushing this movie. It's really cool to think about.
Yeah, it's so cool that he was able to lead his dad to an Oscar win, and that his dad was like, when my son became a writer, I said, hey, write a good part for me. And he did. So thanks. Like that was the speech.
He did write a good part. Yeah. Fucking hell. I need to see more of this guy's stuff. I've heard Dodsworth is real good. That's he's he's the main character, Sam Dodsworth, in that movie, 1936. I'd love to see that one. But he's part of this Huston family, that is still around, still working. Angelica Huston still just crushing it. It's a family that's got all kinds of talent coming out of it. So your boy, he liked Jack Huston. He's real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're I don't know what's going on in that family, but they got something's going through their blood.
Oh, they're incredibly talented. I mean, don't leave out Danny Huston.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I love a Hollywood dynasty family that just has generations of insane talent. The Hustons, the Coppolas, like these are just, I love looking into these guys.
Yeah, the Coppolas is a whole different ball game. It's like because the Nicky Cage, you're like, wait a minute, what? Jason Schwartzman, all these people are related. It just gets really confusing. At least with the Hustons, they all have the same last name.
True. Oh boy,
that's it's hard to believe that such a powerful movie. I mean, it really centers around three people, right? Dobbs, Walt, Howard, and Curtin. Those three guys are really like on the screen pretty much the entire time. And there's not really anybody else that's as far as Oscars go, that's like noteworthy. It's really, that's all it takes, right? I've always preferred when you see like a huge ensemble, like when Wes Anderson has just tons of like Oscar nominated people and winners, that's cool. But I prefer a balanced roster of actors, of character actors, of Oscar type actors, of newcomers. I prefer something like this where it's kind of a jack of all trades type thing.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see a variety of different kinds of talent taking on a project together like this. It's that it gives you balance.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like with if you have like a sports team and everybody's a superstar, it's not going to work, because then they're not going to know who's going to take over when it comes time. With this movie, we know Bogart's taking over. Dobbs is taking over, and he's going to, fucking push us through and be the most entertaining guy. So, then Walter Houston's the second guy. He's like, wait a minute, I might have something to say about that. And that's cool. I love that. Everybody else falls in line, and it makes the movie just work like magic. Next guy. Oh boy. Max Steiner. This is one of the giants when it comes to composers and guys in music and movies. He's got just so many fucking nominations. So I'm going to go through them. I don't think we've ever talked about him on this show, so I want to go through all of his stuff. He's got, I think, 3 wins altogether. So bear with us. 1934, The Lost Patrol was up for best score. Also, The Gay Divorcee, both 1934. They were both up for score. Then he won in 1935 for The Informer. Then was nominated again for The Garden of Allah, 1936. Jezebel, 1938. Gone with the Wind, 1939. Dark Victory, 1939. The Letter, 1940. Sergeant York, 1941. And then won again in 1942 for Now Voyager. And then Casablanca, nominated. The Adventures of Mark Twain, 1944, nominated. Since You Went Away, 1944, got the win. He keeps going. We're like halfway through. Night and Day, or no, Rhapsody in Blue, sorry, 1945, nominated. Night and Day, 1946, nominated. My Wild Irish Rose, 1947, nominated. Life with Father, 1947, nominated. Johnny Belinda, 1948, nominated. There you go. We like that one. Beyond the Forest, 1949, nominated. The Flame and the Arrow, 1950, nominated. The Jazz Singer, 1952, nominated. 3 more. The Miracle of Our Lady of Fatima, 1952, nominated. The Cane Mutiny, 1954, nominated. And Battle Cry, 1955, nominated. So yeah, 3 wins, a shit ton of nominations. And here's a guy who basically every year from 1934 to 1955 was getting some kind of recognition. It's crazy.
That's amazing. I can't believe he wasn't up for Sierra Madre. The score of this film is remarkable.
Truly. It truly is. I love the score. reminds me of some of my favorite modern Western, crime movies of these days. So with this, do you feel like with this category specifically back then, you think there just wasn't like enough people working to kind of be in competition? Like, do you think he's, I want to word this right. I don't want to like disregard him or anything, but it's much harder nowadays, right, to get a nomination every fucking year for best score compared to back then, right?
Well, back then it was, it wasn't just best score, it was best dramatic score and best musical score.
Yeah.
So you had just the same people kind of working, on a conveyor belt with this stuff in every department. The actors, the directors. It was really just like you got it. You got 3 scripts you're working on this week, and there were the occasional like big projects that like monopolized time, but a lot of people were just multitasking constantly just to make content because all the studios were competing intensely, like way more than they do now, I think. So I think with the small pool of people just doing drama films or just doing musical films, probably easier to get constantly nominated back then.
Yeah. And like you said, a lot of his are for scoring of a dramatic or comedy picture, and then occasionally you'll see these musical ones, and it's just weird how it's changed. It's changed completely over time, and guys that are really recognizable today, John Williams and Hans Zimmer and Thomas Newman, all those kind of guys. There's something I think a little bit more difficult to like string together that kind of a filmography, but this guy's got the numbers. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And there are, it wasn't, there weren't people who were just, there were people who were just drama, just musical, but a lot of them, did everything. I'm looking at the nominees from this year, and, Alfred Newman is in both categories, musical and drama.
There you go.
Diversify. But I do think also, we've talked about this before, a lot of the scores back then didn't really stand out. There were a lot of them just kind of sounded like very similar. So I think there's a certain degree of creativity that's more allotted to the composer these days. I think they're given a little bit more freedom to kind of make the score their own. Back then, I bet it was just kind of a job for hire.
Yeah. Which man, that must have been really hard at that time to be someone who's, if you're really trying to vote on the best score and you're just hearing all these things that are so similar, you're like, I don't know how to, I don't know how to decipher what's what. That's just not a job I would want, is like listening to the same dun 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 dun.
but that's
over and over.
That's why I think Sierra Madre should have been up, because I can recognize that score. If I hear that score, I'll be like, oh, that's Sierra Madre.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, there's a few bits in Sierra Madre that I'm like, oh man, this is great. It really does remind me of the stuff I love, like the Johnny Greenwood score in There Will Be Blood, where it's just kind of like kind of scary at times, but all it's kind of telling you what's about to go down. It's got the like eeriness to it, and I love that. So Max Steiner is a guy that I didn't really know much about, and here we are. He's got 20-something nominations and 3 wins for composing. Hats off to him. Next guy. Here's someone that fucking sure as hell should have been nominated for Sierra Madre and wasn't. That's Ted D Mccord, the cinematographer. Come on, what are we doing here? How is Sierra Madre not up for fucking cinematography? It's weird because he also worked on Johnny Belinda, and he was nominated for that. So he got that black and white best cinematography, 1948, Johnny Belinda, and then go all the way up to 1962, 2 for the Seesaw, again best cinematography, black and white, and then here's his big one, Sound of Music, 1965, best cinematography in color. So 3 nominations altogether. I just don't understand. Johnny Belinda is really good, and I wanted to watch that one again just for this show, but Sierra Madre has to be there. His work on that is at times truly outstanding. With doing the stuff on location and a lot of the outdoor scenes that they do. It's just for me anyway. It's the stuff I love.
Yeah, a lot of the shots are brilliantly framed. I look, like I said about the conveyor belt with films back then, a lot of them were just, on a sound stage, you filmed it, you went home. But there were people trying things, there were people experimenting, trying to put their mark on something they believed in. And you can see that in Sierra Madre. This is definitely a film that was not, your usual, random like MGM script. This was something that people put a lot of work into. There was love behind this. And you can see that in every aspect of production. That kind of love transcends the language barrier. It transcends, the black and white barrier. A good movie is a good movie. You can always tell.
Yes, exactly. Well said. Ted D Mccord, good work, man. We recognize you here on Oscar Sunday, even though the Academy didn't back then. But he's at this ceremony though for Johnny Belinda, which is so cool. I love seeing someone do two noteworthy movies with the camera, within the same year. I've always thought that's just fascinating. Another guy from There Will Be Blood, Robert Elswit, the cinematographer, also did the cinematography for Michael Clayton, both 2007 movies, and that's just cool as shit. I love that. What a different kind of experience too. Like when you get to work on, and Johnny Belinda and Sierra Madre, very different films, and so I really respect that. Last guy I want to talk about is Owen Marx, the film editor for Sierra Madre, and here goes along the lines of what you've been talking about, Connor. Is conveyor belt. Boy, oh boy, does editing go a long way when you're doing these kind of classic movies, and can be the difference maker in setting them apart from their peers. I think Sierra Madre, it's like just above 2 hours. I think it's kind of cut like a diamond, and just every decision makes total sense to me. So that shit goes a long way when you're, he's also the guy behind, editing Casablanca. So it makes sense, right? It's like they had an eye for what's going to age well, what's going to last a long time. And, that shit's important.
Oh yeah, big time. Especially since, the way this thing's edited is pretty crucial to it being as memorable and exciting as it is. I mean, you've got to kind of ramp up the tension from just, them kind of, fucking around in Tampico to, going on this expedition, and then the way things get tense with the banditos. It's a perfect escalation into a brilliant climax. And I think this film's edited just perfectly.
Yeah, sublime, and not nominated. What Sierra Madre is one of those movies that should have like 10. It should have double digit. Johnny Belinda got 12 nominations at this ceremony. I think Sierra Madre should also be in that kind of a place. It's crazy to me. It's only got 4 nominations altogether. Really bonkers, but four really big categories. So they do have that going for it. Owen Marx was nominated for Casablanca 1942 and Janie 1944. But my favorite thing that I saw earlier about this guy is he's also the one who edited White Heat from 1949. Fucking love White Heat. Holy shit.
Oh, fucking White Heat. That's such a badass movie.
Yeah.
I love that. So this guy clearly has an eye for like tension. He can really he edits things together to really fit a fucking, even Casablanca, towards the end of that film, tension gets ratcheted up to 11. So I guess that's this guy's milieu. Yeah. And it has me interested in, this is one of my very favorite things about this show is, yeah, sure, you want to knock out John Huston's filmography or Humphrey Bogart, but now I'm like, no, I want to see Owen Marx edited movies. I want to see The Sea Chase from 1955 or Lucky Me from 1954, or I don't know, just choose one. If it's this guy, chances are it's going to be pretty good. Yeah, well said. I definitely want to check out East of Eden.
I own that one. It'll pop up someday. I'm sure we'll find a way to do that.
Nice.
Cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I think we've done movies that have 12 people that are Oscar nominated. It feels like this one has 6. That feels just right. It feels like it's the right balance of kind of big people and then people trying to prove themselves, uh, and a cast that's just kind of understands what's going on. So very cool. The 21st Academy Awards. Here we go. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited to kind of break down some of these categories and get to that Best Picture ranking. That's going to be really cool because we've watched these movies for the first time a long time ago, it feels like. So I'm excited to do that. And then after all that, we'll of course give our own awards out to Sierra Madre before we get out of here. But 21st Academy Awards, Connor. This is hosted by Robert Montgomery. Nice. Like I said, Johnny Belinda had 12 nominations. That's the most at the show. Hamlet won 4 and went away with the big one. So they're kind of the winners of the night. But that's not really how I see it, right? I think the way I see it is it's one of the more surprising and balanced overall good ceremonies filled with like just solid movies that are worth people's time and accessible. Some of these movies are still out there. They're Criterion or HBO Max or what have you, and you can find them, you can watch them. So I hope people are influenced. But for this, what do you want to start with the categories? Because we have 4.
I think Best Screenplay probably be a good place to start.
Yeah, because yes, screenplay. I love motion. I love the category name, Best Motion Picture Story. Screenplay is probably the right place to go, especially if we're going to finish with picture. The other 3 categories have 1 in. So yeah, screenplay, supporting actor, and director. We'll knock them out that way.
Sounds good. I think it's crazy that it's just Best Screenplay. It's not original or adapted. It's just 5 movies.
Yeah. So what is Motion Picture Story?
I guess that's just a story credit, just like who came up with the concept.
Yeah. How bizarre.
Yeah. That used to be a category.
It ended in 1956. That was the last year they did this category. I mean, some great movies won.
Yeah.
There's Going My Way, Miracle on 34th Street, Greatest Show on Earth, Roman Holiday. The Brave One is the last one to win. Yeah, I mean, I prefer the way we have it, the best original, like written directly for the screen and then adapted. I like that the best.
Yeah, me too. But they had to start somewhere. Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at Best Documentary right below it. It's got 2 fucking movies nominated. So get out of here.
Jeez. Well, Best Screenplay. Well, I guess I'll do it.
Yeah, take it away. Yeah,
why not? A Foreign Affair by Charles Brackett, Billy Wilder, and Richard L. Breen. Johnny Belinda by Irma von Cube and Alan Vincent. The Search by Richard Schweischer and David Weschler. The Snake Pit by Frank Partos and Millen Brand. And the winner, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre by John Huston. Yeah. I agree with that. I think this has an amazing story, a fantastic screenplay. Well deserved.
Yeah, it's as snappy as anything I've ever seen. The like whip quick dialogue between, especially those 3 guys, and they're right from the get-go. That's probably why I fell in love with it so fast, because when they're in Tampico, you're like, holy shit, these guys are just boom, 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 just going back and forth. And when we first see Walter Houston, Howard, and he's telling them about mining for gold, and oh yes, and I always love when a movie opens up with just that strong of dialogue, that strong of a screenplay where they know where they want to go. They know how good their actors are. They know how good their characters are. And it's just committed as hell the whole time. It's funny. It's got some like really like dark humor in it. And gosh, it's just one of those kind of diamond screenplays that totally deserves it. I do love The Search. Those 2 names, Richard Schweischer and David Weschler. Doesn't sound real.
I know it sounds like like a sketch, but I'm sure it's a great movie.
It's like what was the Kevin Nealon and Dana Carvey? They would do the they would do that sketch for SNL where they were the fucking meatheads.
I think it was Hans and Franz.
Yeah, I'm Hans. Yeah, yeah. Just doesn't sound real. Yeah. So good.
Foreign Affair. I'm gonna have to check that out. And The Search.
Yes,
but Belinda and Snake Pit, I'm familiar with.
Yeah, both really good. Foreign Affair is, yeah, I mean, Billy Wilder, right? It's a huge name. That's a movie I've always kind of had in the back of my head that I should check out. Also, cinematography by Charles Lang. I like that guy a lot too. So yeah, Foreign Affair. That's one I'll probably get to next when it comes to 1948 nominated movies.
Very nice. How about Best Supporting Actor next?
Yes. Yeah, let's do that.
Charles Bickford for Johnny Belinda. Jose Ferrer, Joan of Arc. Oscar Homolka, I Remember Mama. Cecil Kellaway, The Luck of the Irish. And the winner, Walter Huston, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Yeah, again, I mean, I haven't seen 3 of these movies. Charles Bickford, Black McDonald. Was he the rapist?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Walter Huston has this perfect, he might be full of shit or he might be a genius kind of thing going on. You don't really know until they actually find the gold and you're like, oh no, he knows everything about this. Because when I first saw this, I'm like, this guy's going to like try to rob them in the desert.
Yeah.
It's played so like when you first meet him, he's like, come on, let me tell you the secrets of how to find gold. Like he sounds like a carnival salesman. Like he's ridiculous. He's talking so loud, so many people can hear him. Like he just doesn't care. I love that kind of guy. Like I would love to know this guy's story. Like how the hell did he end up in Tampico trying to get people to go in on a gold expedition?
That's the genius of movie making, right? Is that the mystery of characters, the mystery of whatever story you're in. It's like I will always adore that about movies when I'm always I know I'm going to be wondering the whole time, but I'm okay with it. I'm content with it. And with his character specifically, yeah, I think he's the perfect supporting role to win. He's one of my favorite supporting wins of all time. He's so good. His laugh, like especially towards the end when he's just losing his fucking mind, and he's like, oh, he's like, this is a joke that's worth 10 months of suffering and hard labor. He's just laughing.
Yeah, he's just like falling because he can't do anything else.
Yeah, he has no idea what's going on, and rest in peace to him. He died 2 years later, right, in 1950. So he died when he was 67. Does this movie? It's kind of his last stand of, I still got it. I'm still the man. I can act with the very best of them, and just crazy, man. Yeah. His grandchildren, like we pointed out, Angelica, Danny, and Jack. They still. Well, Jack's the great grandchild, or just great grandchild. Yeah. They're still here, kind of carrying out that name. But fuck, he had something else going on that was just so unique and so cool. Yeah, he's Canadian. I love that.
He's Canadian. Yeah. I don't know why that's great, but it is.
Yeah, it just works. Yeah.
I do wish Tim Holt had been up. I thought he was fantastic as Curtin. I wish he'd also gotten a nomination. I still think Huston deserved the win, but it would have been cool to see him have a nomination as well.
Yeah, all 3 of them should have been, right? Yeah, Curtin's great. I love Curtin as kind of like the guy who's kind of standing with he's like, no, let's listen to the old guy, and then he has this change of heart a few times where he doesn't quite know, and he finally realizes Dobbs has lost his mind, but and he ends up, the movie ends with him saying goodbye. It's a really nice moment between him and Howard. They're like laughing their asses off, and then they're like, well, what are you going to do next? He's really good. He holds his own. With these guys. I agree with you. I've got to see Joan of Arc. That's Ingrid Bergman, kind of, one of her big roles, directed by Victor Fleming. We've got to see this movie. It's just, I just haven't found the right time to do it. We'll probably bring it up on the show at some point. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Ingrid Bergman, Victor Fleming. Holy shit! I'm
Yeah,
100% on board for that.
yeah. Ingrid has that same thing, the classic Hollywood of like, I'll watch whatever she's in. She completely blows my mind. I will say it would be hard for her to beat in the best actress category. I think Jane Wyman is fucking wonderful in Johnny Belinda. And then Olivia De Havilland, oh my God, in The Snake Pit, she's great. So it'd be hard for her to like beat them, but I'm down to see if she can.
Jane Wyman and Johnny Belinda, the weight on her shoulders for that film. I admire her commitment to that movie so much. It's unreal. I think it's the only performance in Oscar history that has zero dialogue.
It's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be.
And just, the film dealing with, rape in the 1940s. I'm sure people tried to shut that thing down constantly, but here it is. And I honestly think it's been kind of buried. I remember I had a hard time getting a hold of a copy. So I'm glad that we keep bringing it up.
Oh yeah. This is one of those, like, do whatever you got to do. If you got to rent it, if you got to, figure out a way to watch it. Johnny Belinda is very good. Very, very good. So is The Snake Pit, man. God damn.
Oh yeah.
Olivia De Havilland's a freak of nature. She's so good. She's one of those people too that I just don't like see people like her. Both of them, Jane Wyman, fucking Ingrid Bergman too. I don't see women like them now anymore. Like Olivia just had just so much natural talent just pouring out of her. Just her again. Same as like Bogart. Her eyes just like told you everything. And I want to see Bergman just to see what she, how she stacks up against those two specifically. But you also got Irene Dunn and Barbara Stanwyck. So, there's always more to watch, right?
Yeah. For every episode we do, we discover like 6 or 7 new movies to watch down the road.
Yeah, exactly. And I want it that way.
Hell yeah. Best director.
Yes.
We have Laurence Olivier for Hamlet. Jean Negolsko, Johnny Belinda. Fred Zinnemann, The Search. Anatoly Litvak, The Snake Pit. And the winner, John Huston, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Now that I understand the significance of Fred Zinnemann and his films, cool to see him here. And then Olivier, I'm so glad he didn't get it. Because
yeah. That's the one that I'm like, thank God it didn't win that. The Search. Do you know about this movie? Search?
I don't. This is the first time hearing about it, but I'm looking at it and this sounds fascinating.
Yeah, a young Auschwitz survivor, starring Montgomery Clift. Fuck yeah, come on, like. And this is 1948. This is right after World War II ends, and I mean, obviously the world still feels the repercussions of that. It's not that long ago in the big scheme of time. And I love seeing movies that are kind of fresh off of straight up trauma, and history in the middle of changing. And so that's fascinating that Zinnemann like went ahead and did that. So yeah, that's on my radar. I love me some Montgomery Clift.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Talk about him and talking about Olivia De Havilland brings back The Heiress.
I love The Heiress. Holy shit. That was a great movie.
That was a fun one.
But I think about with Montgomery Clift, I just think about that heat check performance in Judgment at Nuremberg where he comes in and just fucking goes hard for a few minutes and you're like, oh my God, this movie just got flipped upside down. and another World War II movie. So yeah, Jesus. And fucking From Here to Eternity. He's amazing in that movie. That guy rules. He's good at war movies.
Yeah, he keeps popping up in random episodes of this show. I love it. Nagolsko and Litvak. We've seen Johnny Belinda and The Snake Pit. How do you think they stack up against Huston?
They give it their best go, but this is where my fandom will show for sure. Those are good movies. Both good, both worth anybody's time. But Sierra Madre is the only must see that I see here. Like you can't skip it. You cannot skip Sierra Madre. And again, everything that's happening with Owen Marx, the film editor, Ted McCord, the cinematographer, John Huston, the captain of this ship. They all know exactly what they're doing, and it's this clear group effort. And the movie has aged so fucking well. There's not really anything wrong with it. There's not really any trip ups or, oh, look, that was kind of a shitty little editing job, or, oh, like they didn't really know what to do with that 10 minutes. There's no lull. There's nothing boring. Every minute counts. And John Huston, goddamn, just to think that he was only 7 or 8 years into directing and he does this. It's just crazy.
Like, yeah, he was clearly raised by a guy who lived and breathed fucking film.
Yes.
And it's just amazing. I love that. I think Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger should be here for the Red Shoes. I think that film is brilliantly directed.
Yeah. Oh my God. Laurence Olivier, you got to go, buddy. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. This is one of the most impressive years of the Oscars that we've discovered on this show thus far. I think I'm consistently impressed by the quality of films and the groundbreaking, like landmarks that happen here with all these films. It's really impressive. Yeah.
It's up there. I love 2007. I love 1975. Love 1974. But this is like up there. It's up there, like in the top 5 or 10 best ceremonies overall for me. For these movies up at the top. These Best Picture, Best Director. Like these movies kick ass and Hamlet. Like of course we're kind of shit talking it. It's not horrible. But it's just done. It's not even close to these other movies. Like I think I gave it a 6. It's fine. It's whatever. I hate when a movie like that wins the most awards at a show and there's other movies that just outshine it by a mile.
Well, it's just not a best picture by any means of the word. It's weird that it even stands amongst these films. I mean, sure, give him a best actor nod, give it some production design shit, but best picture, best director, like, no, it's just not, it's not up to snuff. It doesn't hold up. That's for damn sure. It's a slog to get through. Shakespeare's got a very niche audience, especially these days. I mean, I'm a big fan of Macbeth, but that's about it. I can't deal with Hamlet anymore. I can't deal with these 2.5 to 4 hour cuts by British thespians who all want to be the next Olivier. I just can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I totally understand. It's not really my bag either. It's very rare that I'll just straight up turn something down. But it's not something I'm racing to, Yeah. It's not something I'm knocking on the door for. So that's a great way to go into our best picture rankings.
Yeah.
Obviously Hamlet's both are number 5. It just doesn't belong. I think the rest of these movies are an 8 and above, and Hamlet's 5 or 6. It just doesn't belong.
No, it's weird, and I just don't know what they were thinking. Like, wow, this Olivier has brought Shakespeare to the big screen. That's great. Did he do a good job of it? I don't really think so. I've watched this and I've watched Henry V, and I'm like, I think I'm done. Like, if it's Olivier and Shakespeare, I'm not watching it. I'll watch, Olivier do anything else, but I don't want to watch him do Shakespeare anymore. It's boring. It takes forever. And I just feel like I wasted 2.5 hours.
I like movies less by the time I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Which is not what I want.
I could have watched 2 horror movies by now.
Yeah.
And had a much better time, but nope, here we are. So no, yeah. Hamlet loses the race here.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Enough shit talking Hamlet. What's your number 4?
And I want to stress, I think the rest of these films are gold, and this was tough.
Extremely. Yeah.
Number 4 for me is The Red Shoes.
Oh boy.
I know. I don't want to do it, but it's gotta be somewhere.
Yeah.
Red Shoes is great. it's a really well balanced film. I do think the ballerina scenes do go on a bit longer than I would want. But I get it. It's a movie about ballerinas. Like I'm not an idiot. There's going to be dancing here.
It's fair. Yeah.
But I love the ending. I love the character development in this film. I think it's very well written, and I don't like my four through two are on pretty freaking even ground. It's really hard to kind of put one up against the other. They're all solid eights for me. I'm just like, I gotta put them somewhere. So, red shoes.
I'm pretty much in that exact same boat. Or yeah, it is. Actually, no. My number two is a 9. But yeah, they're close. They're close. I'm with you on that. Oh man, yeah, I'll be talking about red shoes later. My number 4 is The Snake Pit.
Okay.
God damn, love this movie. This is when you know it's a good group. Is 4 out of the 5 movies just fucking hit and stick with you. This one's kind of like kind of got some like thriller aspects to it. Got some the psychological stuff going on, kind of like horror at times, which I love. I love from this era because it's just completely different from what you're used to. You're used to seeing like 40s, 50s musicals, but The Snake Pit is just kind of different than that. It's going for something totally different. And my favorite aspect of it is Olivia De Havilland. She just blows my mind in this movie. For her, it's either that or The Heiress, where like those 2 movies are just very important to me as a fan. Snake Pit is a movie I want to buy really bad. I want to have it on my shelf. Mainly because of her. She's someone that I've bonded over with my mom. My mom found out that I like knew who she was, and she was like, "Oh my god, she's a legend." And like, yeah, I get it now. After seeing some of her work, and just this look she has, this kind of bug-eyed, like kind of everything's kind of fucking with her. She has a way of playing the psychological roles better than most people I've seen. I love the staging at the hospital at the Juniper, I think is what it's called, the state hospital that they're at. Really cool. Just kind of unsettling. Has stuck with me, And I didn't rewatch all these movies for this episode, but I remember them very well, and I want to rewatch them again. I would love to revisit these again, own all of them. They're just kind of a special class. This is an 8 out of 10 movie, but I've just seen it once, so it could move up. You know what I mean?
Oh, I very much know what you mean. My number 3 is The Snake Pit.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's phenomenal. I'm mostly impressed by how progressive it is. It's one of the first films to ever actually treat mental illness as a legitimate problem and not as like something to be afraid of or something to ostracize somebody for. It's brilliant in the way it portrays that. It's way ahead of its time. And Olivia is amazing in this. She pulls it off. She never plays it for laughs or for fears. She's just playing somebody who needs help. And people who help her. Like, it's a great movie. I think that this should be taught in like, psych classes. Like, this thing is important. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they have a much different look on, schizophrenia than most people in 1948 did, right? And that's huge. Like, movies are such a huge way to reach out to people and teach them that, hey, this thing is actually different than what it seems, or different than what you've been taught. And I appreciate that a lot when you go back and watch movies and you can see it, you can feel it. And Olivia's a big reason why. Virginia Cunningham is like such a cool fucking character. Like, I want a poster of this movie. It's because I think about it a lot. It was really hard to put it at number 4, but I'm with you, man. Had to do it somewhere. So your number 3 is Snake Pit. My number 3 is Johnny Belinda.
Okay.
Christ. Here's another one. You already spoke briefly about Jane Wyman's performance. She doesn't speak. This is another one like a trendsetter. Not a trendsetter. Sorry, that's not the right way to put it. It sets the fucking bar for dealing with this very serious matter of rape, of molesting, and it takes it very seriously. And Jane Wyman takes it very seriously, and this was the one that I kind of like just looked at for a moment, and I was like, okay, and then I watched it and I was like, wow, this is kind of why Connor and I set out to do this, to commit to these episodes and watch a bunch of different movies, not just Hamlet, but watch the other four as well and see what happens. And I remember Johnny Belinda being the one that surprised me the most, where I was like, wow. I just looked at IMDb for just a moment. I didn't recognize anybody's name, and shame on me. I just kind of like was like, okay, I'll throw it on and see what happens. This is really fucking good. Really fucking good. And a movie that, same as all these, this is a trend with these movies, is any other year around it in the 40s or 50s, it's going to be there. It's going to be in that best picture category. They're that good.
Yeah, I agree. I would also like to really quick just clarify, Charles Bickford does not play the rapist. He plays her dad.
That Black McDonald is the dad?
Yeah, the rapist is Lockie McCormick.
Oh, okay. He's not even listed on this. Yeah, the film stars Jane Wyman, Lou Ayres, Charles Bickford, Agnes Moorehead,
Stephen McNally. That's the name of the character. The actor Stephen McNally.
Oh, okay. Steve McNally is the actor. Okay, that makes sense. No, my bad. I heard that wrong.
My mistake. Johnny Belinda is my number 2. And yeah, it's a trailblazer. It's a remarkable film in the way it portrays a rape incident. Again, not played for, any kind of, it's not mocking anything. It takes it very seriously, and also like strengthens the characters. And the performances are just remarkable. I really am impressed by this film and everything that it was able to pull off in 1948.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was quite controversial for its time, as you can imagine. Hollywood was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, it touches on individual liberties, parental fitness, like themes that you just don't see in films of this time, like rarely. In this case, I think this earned 12 nominations.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with this one.
Yeah, and Jane Wyman taking home the gold is rightly so. Very good stuff. Did you buy this movie, or how did we get this one? I can't remember.
I got it through Netflix in the mail.
Okay,
but when I do see a copy, I am going to grab it.
Oh yeah, I would pay whatever it took for these. I own the top 2 movies that I have here. I own, but the other 3 I don't. I would own them all. I would own Hamlet just because I want to have all the winners on my shelf. My number 2, as you can guess, is The Red Shoes. Fucking hell, man. This movie is really good. I actually have rewatched this since, because when we did it, I want to say you got it Netflix through the mail as well.
No, Red Shoes was on Criterion.
Yeah, but I don't remember. Oh, I guess you're right. We had Criterion at that time, because that's how I watched Hamlet.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how we watched it. Okay. And I think if I'm not mistaken, right now The Red Shoes is on HBO Max right now as we speak, and on Criterion, of course. It's got a real nice Criterion edition. Boy, oh boy, this is right up my alley. Fucking weird movie. Great music, weird dancing, ballet scenes. Very, very much a predecessor to Black Swan from 2010. Definitely a movie about obsession, about being as good as you can be in the arts, right? And I love movies like that. And I'm not a ballet guy, but if you do it like this, where it's like a horror movie, I'm in. I'm fucking in. I love The Red Shoes. I think it's a daunting film, and it's the other one that I've revisited besides Sierra Madre. just because I can't get enough of it. It's score. I think its score is my favorite aspect of it. That I just listen to it on my own in my car sometimes. By Brian Easdale, very 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 cool score. Just it reminds me of it's like shit that's coming out now. That's like, oh wow, this is 70 years ago, and this would have, I'm sure this frightened audiences back then, but it still frightens me today, and I love that about it. This is of all these trends that we're kind of seeing with these movies that we both love. I think it's because they all last. They've all aged well. They have all lasted so long and still look so impressive. And The Red Shoes is no slouch to that. I recommend this one for sure. I think this is a cinephile's dream kind of movie where it's just bizarre. It's not like anything you've really seen. It's got crazy good performances from people you haven't really heard of, and I love that about it. I agree with you. Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger, both they directed it together and wrote the screenplay. Should have been up for Best Director. Just a damn shame. This is the most out there movie from this ceremony that I've seen. It's just very ambitious, and yeah, had to give it my number 2 just because of that. That one's a 9 for me. Belinda and Snake Pit are both 8, so just barely gets the edge there. But now we know what number 1 is for both of us.
Yeah, of course. The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, one of the greatest adventure films of all time. What else could it possibly be? I do want to ask real quick. The Red Shoes and Hamlet, are those the only 2 of this bunch that are in the Criterion Collection? Do you know of?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping Criterion wises the fuck up and puts these other 3 films in their collection, because I want some pristine editions.
I think Joan of Arc is also is in the collection. It's obviously not a Best Pick nominee, but I'm pretty sure it is. I would have to look at that though. That's funny.
Yeah, but yeah, Sierra Madre is the film that should have won Best Picture at this award. This is a game changer, an exciting film, tense as hell, no matter how many times you watch it. Incredibly well acted, well directed, well written. Like, this is what a Best Picture looks like. And I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, I agree. This is like Shawshank 1994. What were you doing? It's like it's one of those. It's Brokeback Mountain against Crash. It's it's Driving Miss Daisy beating out all those great 1989 films. Just doesn't really add up. Doesn't really make sense when it's right there in front of you. You obviously saw it. You nominated it, so how can you not choose this one over that? Just doesn't make much sense. I echo everything you said. Just everything is executing on all cylinders extremely well, and I can't wait to give awards out to it. It was so much fun, kind of watching the film and being like, oh, that's my favorite quote, and then oh no, it changed, and just kind of going with it with this movie, and I had so much fun rewatching it. As I always do, going back to these guys and mining for gold is the best. This is a straight 10 out of 10 movie for me. I can't believe it's not in the Criterion Collection. It's fucking crazy. This is like an American, it should be in a fucking museum.
It is. I wonder what their selection process is like. Like, do they have to get approval before they throw something in?
There must be, because there's so many, classics that aren't there, and then like fucking, all of Wes Anderson's movies are. So it's like, okay, what are we really doing here? Do you have to get permission or rights or whatever it is? I don't know.
I was shopping today and I saw a Criterion edition of RoboCop.
Yeah.
I was like, what? It's a great movie, but really?
Yeah, RoboCop rules, but okay, yeah.
I wonder sometimes, like, RoboCop and Armageddon made it, but nothing by Quentin Tarantino's in there. Like, I don't know. But I digress. Yeah. Sierra Madre. Yeah. It's an 8 for me, but it's a high 8. It'll probably go up. It's tough for me. An 8 is a great movie. I mean, you got to really impress me to get a 9, and you got to like, I can't even explain what gives a movie a 10, but I just know.
Yeah, same. I definitely know. I usually know when in the middle of it, I'm like, oh man, this is doing something to me. I can't. I can't explain it. That usually means it's probably going somewhere towards 10. And this isn't any sort of discovery. This movie's massive. It has become extremely iconic. There's people who are obsessed with this movie, and my favorite connections with this one are of course Paul Thomas Anderson's admiration for it and the clear inspiration he got from this movie to do a lot of the things he did. And even Daniel Day-Lewis said that really, he doesn't look to other performances for inspiration too often. He's like, I can kind of build my own. But he did say for Daniel Plainview that Dobbs was someone he watched and was very inspired by for that role, which is just fucking cool as shit, right? One of the best movies of the century that we're in, going toe to toe against one of the best movies of the century before in Sierra Madre. Just an absolute dream for me.
You never hear Daniel Day-Lewis talk about his influences. That is wow.
Yeah. When I read that, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I get it though. I get it. Dobbs is the fucking man.
My favorite thing that in terms of legacy and what this film would later inspire is the clear costume inspiration for Indiana Jones. Dobbs's fedora, like it's very much the look of Indiana Jones came from Dobbs. And that's just fucking great.
Bogart is the only person from this era. A lot of guys would wear hats. They'd like be in like noir films, and they would wear the hat and do the whole thing. He's the only one that I'm like, he actually pulls that shit off. Like Bogart can wear the hat, he can wear the slacks, he can wear whatever kind of pants and a button down, and I'm in. Like he fits every kind of everyday American role that you possibly can fill.
He looks awesome just with a cigarette that's hanging out of his mouth. He looks like the epitome of class. Like, Jesus Christ, I get it, man. Everyone who's ever put on a fedora thinks they look like Bogey. You don't. You look weird.
No.
Bogey looked like Bogey.
Yeah, they wish they could do what he does or do what he did. Again, rest in peace. The guy fucking ruled. I was reading before we did this, just kind of like trying to figure out why wasn't he nominated for Sierra Madre? Like what happened? And we're not the only ones. At the time, it was very controversial. People were like, wait, what? That might be the best part of the movie. And you just you didn't even give it a nomination, let alone any sort of win. And there's not really much there. It's just kind of like seen as the Academy was like, yeah, we made a mistake, and there's people back then in the 40s, in the late 40s, who sort of shunned the Academy and basically were like, no, we're good because of this decision to not have Bogart. It would be like if you and I were oh well, we have to see, I don't know, we have to see Olivia Colman up for The Favorite, otherwise we're not gonna fucking be down with you guys anymore. They don't nominate her, she's nowhere to be seen at that show. And you and I just stop paying attention to the Oscars. Like that happened with a significant chunk of people, of fans. They like shunned the Academy because of this decision. And I was like, I get it. I fucking get it. He's that good.
That's awesome. I love that the history of the Oscars isn't just about the movies, it's about the people watching them. And I love that that's reinforced.
Oh yeah. Time and time again, you realize, this does have a pretty amazing history of almost 100 years in awards. And for most of it, people really paid attention. Nowadays it's hard to get those viewers. People don't care as much about these kinds of films, but there was a time where Popular and Pristine were Best Picture nominees. There was a time when Godfather won Best Picture back to back. There was a time when fucking Return of the King won Best Picture just 20 years ago. So we're in a different place now with the Oscars for sure. But there was a time where it was like what you and I want it to be. You know, there really was a time where I think people could be proud of it. And this is why when you make these decisions, people are going to turn on you. It's like, wait a minute, you had our attention. You don't want my curiosity? Like, what is this? That's crazy.
Well, that's a cool anecdote. Yeah, he was the best, maybe the best performance of that ceremony from what I've seen so far.
Yeah. To me, it's like a surefire win. Yeah.
Damn shit. Well, you know what? Maybe he'll win tonight.
Yes, maybe he will. Maybe he will with our awards. Which, yeah, again, this is gonna be a lot of fun. The Tarantino Award for best quote. You could choose anything in the movie, and no one's gonna argue with you. The Ennio Morricone Award for best music moment. Lots of stuff to choose from. Then the Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for best performance. I think I have an idea of where we're going to be going. and the Deakins, Roger Deakins Award for best scene of the movie, which still grappling in my mind right now. So I'll let you start with your Tarantino, and let's do this thing.
Sweet. I have two lines. First one's just real quick because it made me laugh. It's when Cody shows up and is asking for, hey, maybe we should partner up on this. And they wake up to see him making coffee. And Dobbs is like, I caught him stealing our water. And Cody's like, I thought I was among civilized men who wouldn't begrudge me a drink of water. And Dobbs just goes, who's not civilized? And immediately punches him in the face.
Yeah. So Dobbsy. Yeah.
Loved it. And then my other one, you touched on earlier, it's at the end of the movie when they lose the gold dust and Howard can't help but laugh. And he just goes, oh, laugh, Curtin, old boy. It's a great joke played on us by the Lord or fate or nature, whatever you prefer. But whoever or whatever played it certainly had a sense of humor. A hell of a way to look. You just lost like $500,000 worth of gold. But hey, there's always next time.
Yeah.
To have that mentality is like, I admire you. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. God, I love Howard. Love the way he articulates everything. Dobbs is amazing, but Howard's got some of the best lines in the movie. He just gets to chew on. Walter Houston is perfect for those type of lines.
Howard is just like, you get the vibe. This is not the first fortune this man has lost. Like, he has been through the ringer. He's experienced this before, and he's like, it's all right. There's always going to be another fortune.
Yeah. I love when he tells Curtin, he's like, at the end of the movie, same scene. He's like, oh, you're young. You got another 3 or 4 fortunes,
Yeah. But he's like, I'm old. I'm going to go be a medicine man. Like, okay.
Yeah. They want me to be their legislator. Their whole legislator. He's so good. So good. Mike Tarantino goes to one of his quotes. It's more towards the beginning of the film when he's kind of explaining to them the dangers of what they're asking about, what they're wanting to do, and he understands this is not easy. And he says, as long as there's no fine, the noble brotherhood will last. But when the piles of gold begin to grow, that's when the trouble starts. Oh man. Such a good line. I love how this movie's telling you exactly what's going to happen. The first 20 minutes, Howard says it all. He says everything. The first 20 or 30 minutes, because once they get up on the mountain and he starts telling them, hey, like, you should probably eat some beans because we're going to be in the mighty rough country tomorrow. And like, you guys are both sleeping, but you should probably be eating. Or, they get weak and they start kind of losing it. They start like hallucinating. He knows, like, you have to take care of yourself. You have to pace yourself. Or when they're walking on the gold and he's like, look what's under you, like he's just kind of spelling it out for you the whole time, that first chunk of the movie. And I love that.
I love when he tells them, like, oh, we passed several spots of gold, but it's too far away from the water. Like, it's not worth it. Like, we got to set up a neutral spot. And when they find the fool's gold, and he's like, do me a favor, next time you come get me before you start splashing water around.
Yeah, because they just waste the whole canteen. Yeah, they're like, oh, Howard, get down here. So good. Oh man, I love Dobbsy and Curtin's kind of initial friendship where they get fucked over by that guy that they're working for and they beat the shit out of him. And they're kind of in it together, and of course that doesn't go as planned, but I really like their camaraderie at the beginning of the movie where there's just a couple Americans. Would you stake a fellow American to a meal? I love all that stuff in Tampico.
I love that he accosts the same guy 3 times, and the guy's like, "Look, this is the last you're getting from me. Here's another one, so you remember."
So good. Oh man,
great stuff.
Yeah. You could. We've been on a roll here, especially with the Tarantino Award. We did recently. We did The Master, When Harry Met Sally, Shawshank, No Country for Old Men, like Day for Night. We've been doing some amazing screenplays as of late, but there's not a lot of screenplays that can go toe to toe with Sierra Madre. It's just razor sharp.
I recently made a Letterboxd list of all the Oscar-winning screenplays that I've watched, and it was so cool to see the variety. And like, just these are the Oscars have said these are the greatest stories we've ever awarded, because that's what the screenplay Oscar means. This is the best story that this year has to offer. And it's just cool to see what was considered the best story. And yeah, Sierra Madre is one of those films. It's neat to see them all kind of lined up like that. I fucking love Letterboxd.
Yeah, me too. Letterboxd is great. It's especially if you have kind of a mind, like an organized mind already. You kind of have those movie posters floating in your brain somewhere, and they're kind of like, they're somewhere up in your personal ether, right? And to be able to see it physically, like really organized and neat, like on an app that's just for people who love movies. I'm very, very happy. I'm on Letterboxd and can do things like that. And then look at stuff that you do, or look at stuff that the people you follow. You can just check out their list and movies they've been seeing. So it's just very neat. It's like Facebook for cinephiles. It's cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Let's do the Ennio Morricone Award. I'm excited to hear what you picked out, because this is not an easy one to find, like on streaming like Spotify or Apple Music or whatever it is. It's hard to find specific pieces from the score, so you have to really know what you want, what you really like out of it, and I like that about it.
Yeah. I've always kind of done that with the score anyway. The way I always describe my scene as opposed to picking the name of the music. And I've definitely got a scene here, and it's when the bandits arrive at their camp. The music reminded me so much, again, of Indiana Jones, of just like the bad guys here.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, here we go. Conflict. And just, them finally, they're teaming up with Cody, like they were just about to fucking kill. And they're like, here, friend, take a rifle, go poach over there. It's like, are we just gonna forget that? Anyway, it's a great scene, and we got that gold hat guy who just keeps coming back. And I'm surprised neither of us for the Tarantino went with the we don't need those stinking badges thing.
It's too big. It's like yeah. No, it's amazing. Yeah, we ain't got no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges. Yeah, it's amazing.
But it's really cool. It sets the stage for a fucking showdown. Yeah, and I love that bit of score. So badass.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I had written that down. I had also written down when Gold Hat and his couple of henchmen show up, basically to kill Dobbs. And you're like, oh shit, that music gets real dark. And then the movie ended, and it's the end credits music is like happy. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. That's such a cool touch, because it leaves you like, da, 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 da. And it's the exact same as There Will Be Blood. At the end of There Will Be Blood, the music at the end of that movie is like, he just murdered this guy, like cold blood murder. And then he says, I'm finished, and then like the music, Johnny Greenwood's score plays, and it's like all happy. I was like, it's the same thing in Sierra Madre, and I love when movies do that. When it's wicked dark, there's been death. Our main character Dobbs just gets killed. They lose all their gold, and now they're back to square one. Howard and Curtin have to part ways, and then the movie ends, and you're like, wait, what? How am I supposed to feel about this? And I love that. It forces you to kind of confront what did you just watch, and did you actually pay attention? Is this? I think it's trying to throw you off, and for me, it's perfect.
It's a great choice. I love the contrast, and it did remind me of There Will Be Blood. I'm glad you brought that up. It represented for me, especially for Curtin. I wonder which path is he going to take? Is he going to be kind of like, we'll get it next time, like Howard, or is he going to be like, I'm going to live and die for the gold, like Dobbs? Like, who's he going to emulate going forward? And I wonder, like, is he going to be the American asking for, a steak in Tampico, or is he going to be the guy being like, I know how to get you gold? Like, what's he going to do next? I want to know.
Yeah, me too. I would love to know if Curtin. Well, he does convince him at least initially to go to Dallas. Howard convinces him, but he's young. I would like to think that Curtin does what Howard does. He goes to different fucking basically like little hostels in Mexico, and is like, hey, if you guys are down and you want to raise the money, I know how to get us there. I know what it's going to take. And I'd fucking watch that movie, Treasure of the Sierra Madre 2. Come on, let's go.
I'd like to think he did the right thing, but I also remember he voted to kill Cody.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
So I don't know. What's a man capable of when faced with a fortune? It's the big question.
Exactly. Yeah, it changes you inevitably.
Who won the movie?
Bogart. Dobbs.
Bogey. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Dobbs. Dobbsy's the man. One of my favorite characters of all time. He's lights out. It's perfect. It's my favorite thing that Bogey's ever done that I've seen. And we've praised him a bunch. I think, if you're listening, you could tell where we're going with this one. He's so necessary. And I love when movies just fucking treat their main character like disposable, like they just die, and that's it, because that's how life is, right? And you just keep moving. We've done movies like this. When we did No Country for Old Men, Josh Brolin's character just gets fucking thrown away like trash. Like, you don't get any huge close up on him, and it's the same thing with Bogey here. It's fucking Humphrey Bogart, and they're not like making it this huge dramatic thing. Like, he dies, and we don't even see those final blows. We don't even see them. And I love that.
1948. I'm sure John Huston had to make some sacrifices. I'm sure he had to cut a lot of what he wanted to do. There's no way in hell the MPA was going to let him show Humphrey Bogart getting hacked to death.
Just getting machetes. Fucking yeah, by Mexican bandits. Yeah, no way.
But I do love the consequences of his actions do come back. He didn't get Gold Hat on the train. He pissed him off when he wouldn't give him the rifle, and here it is. You're going to die.
Yeah.
He's such a terrible person. He's a terrible friend. He's a backstabber. He's a murderer. He's a monster. But he starts out as, kind of a relatable dude. It's a wonderful performance. You need that relatability so you care about him later. You need that. You need to connect to Dobbs. You need to be like, oh, I've been down on my luck before. I wish I had a fortune. You got to have that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he kind of nails all those emotions of what we expect out of this character. So I don't want to step on potential deacons for you, but there is one moment from him that, like, I was like, oh my God, especially watching it this time. I was like, dude, Bogart is just, there's not many people who could do this, who could do this role, and it's a small list of people. But let's hear your deacons.
That scene you're talking about, it wouldn't happen to be the scene where Dobbs finally snaps and tries to kill Curtin, would it?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. That's my deacons.
Yeah.
It's just
fucking crazy.
You're waiting for it. It's going to happen. He's on the verge of complete mental collapse, and then there it is. they got, the old man's gone to stay with the tribe. Curtin's going to be like, we got to get it to wherever they were going. I forget. But Dobbs has this brilliant idea. Like, well, why don't we just take it? Curtin's like, no, that's wrong. And Dobbs is like, don't you tell me what's wrong. You're not the boss of me. I'm going to take this gold. I earned it. It's mine. And you're going to try to kill me in my sleep. And he just has this complete breakdown. And it's the buildup of like the entire movie. You just know this moment's going to happen. And here it comes. And he straight up shoots Curtin off screen and starts talking to himself. Like, maybe I didn't get him. Maybe he's just playing dead. Like, he's completely gone.
Yeah.
It's great. It's the scene that should have won him the fucking Oscar.
I agree. God, I love that. I love that they're like, the location of it, the production design of this particular scene when he starts talking to himself. And there's not a lot of guys who could do that. I really don't. I think it's a very like tiny list of people. Like it's like the DDLs and the Jack Nicholsons and it's like guys that are like of a specific caliber that could pull that scene off and make it what it is. And I always laugh so hard when he does that, when he says, oh, maybe he's just playing dead, I'm always like, oh my God, Dobbs, calm down, man. They need you like you need them for this all to work. You guys need each other to like survive, but he just doesn't want to fucking. I love how they call it their goods, the gold. They're like, you want my goods, don't you? You motherfucker. I love that so much. I almost chose that for my Deacons. I think my favorite bit of the movie is from Cody appearing to Cody dying. I think that run of the movie is real impressive.
Yeah.
It's also just a crazy showcase display of a director bringing somebody in seamlessly, bringing in another character, and he's a fucking Texan hanging out in Durango, named Cody. Like that just makes sense. I love that he brings him in seamlessly and puts him away seamlessly. Like this character introduction, quick development, and there's even development after he dies, right? Because we see him come in. He sees Curtin in Durango when he's like getting new supplies, and then he secretly follows him back, and then he's like, "Hey, fellas, and they legitimately are like, "Yeah, we're just gonna shoot him. We're just gonna fucking kill him." And then Gold Hat, all those guys, come over, and they're like, well, we're just here checking you guys, and we're the Federalists or whatever. And that's when Dobbs like, let's see some badges, and he's like, badges, that's the famous quote. And then there's a fucking gunfight. And it's just cool to see these guys that we've been with for a little while, and you're like, oh my God, these bandits are kind of scary. They're completely irrational and unpredictable. And then Cody gets hit. Cody dies, and they go through Cody's stuff, and it seemed like he was actually kind of an okay dude, and it seemed like he was actually all right, and just literally was just trying to like find a way to make a little bit of money for his family. Is what we learn about him after he dies. And that's a I don't think many people can just pull that off in the middle of a movie at its most tense moment of these guys fucking firing away at these bandits, and they just bring in this character and have him exit seamlessly. I just can't think of many movies that have just done that with such ease. But it's still this essential part to the story, because you learn that these guys don't fucking give a shit. They really just want this goddamn gold. That is the only reason they're out there. They might never get along in any other facet of life. If they were working together at some place, or they were on a sports team together, or they ran into each other at a bar, they might have a few words with one another. But it's because of the gold that they're all there and that they're all chasing something. And with Cody, they didn't even get to know him, right? They didn't even ask him anything. They're just like, yeah, we're going to kill him. And ultimately, he just wanted like a little bit of something to take back to his family. And it's fucking sad. It's really sad. It's all of that. That whole stretch is just really impressive to me. But my favorite like little moment is that Dobbs moment, that where he's like, I'm going to kill Curtin. This guy wants my goods. So that's my favorite like little moment from the movie. But my favorite stretch is that Cody entering to Cody dying. but goddamn, this movie is perfect in my eyes. And I think the ending is great. I think when Dobbs dies, I think that scene's amazing. I think all this stuff in Tampico is amazing. I could go for any of it.
Cody's scene, I get why you picked that one. I love how incredibly like heartbreaking that letter is, where his sweetheart's like, you promised if you didn't find anything this time, you'd put it away. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Fucking sad.
Like Cody Jr.'s missing his daddy. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
To me, Cody represented their conscience. Like, this was their last opportunity to be human beings, and they didn't take it.
Yeah, man. I think that's spot on. It's really cool that Cody comes in and is this like bigger picture type character for just a little bit. I think the more and more you rewatch this movie, like most great movies, you just catch on to those little things, those little subtleties, which is what makes it what it is. So I had a lot of fun doing this movie. It's so good. Highly recommend it to everybody. I don't think it's on a streaming service right now, but it's accessible, Yeah.
Thankfully, the DVD that I got you, which I stumbled onto at a gas station, I was like, are you kidding me?
Perfect.
Came with a voodoo code, so we've got it forever.
There you go. All right. No matter what, digital. That's great. I love it, man. And I'm really, really excited because I think this run we've been doing of movies on Oscar Sunday have been amazing movies that we both just are kind of awestruck by. And next month we're going to be trying something that we haven't ever done before. We've done kind of themed stuff where there was a stretch where we did 5 90s movies in a row. We did 5 40s movies in a row. We did 5 50s movies in a row. We've done that kind of a thing where you try to like focus in on something. But I think change is good. And I think kind of making things a little bit different is good. For February, which is Black History Month, I think it'd be really cool if you and I did 4 movies that are either directed by someone who's Black, or there's a big star in the movie that's Black, centered around Black stories essentially. And I think it's gonna be really cool to kind of shine a spotlight on some stuff that maybe doesn't get enough recognition. And we're not gonna be, we're 2 white guys making a podcast. We're not trying to get on some kind of high horse. What we're trying to do is pay homage to stuff that's important, hopefully kind of recommending it to people type thing. So it's something we haven't done before. And I'm excited because we've got some amazing films lined up to do, starting with a movie that neither of us have seen next week, Lilies of the Field from 1963. This, of course, is the late, great Sidney Poitier's Oscar win, for performing. So we had planned this a long time ago. I've had that written down for months, and I knew I wanted to do this movie on this show because I love Sidney. We both have responded to his stuff on this show already earlier, back when we did In the Heat of the Night, and we also talked about Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. We did an episode on the Defiant Ones. He's a guy we both are attracted to as a performer. So we've had this lined up long before we knew he passed away. So it feels right. Feels like the timing is right to go ahead and respect him properly, and a guy who completely changed the game for Black actors and actresses, and really screenplay writers and directors all across the board. So I can't wait to do that movie next week. It's gonna be a lot of fun and kick off a kind of cool Black History Month on Oscar Sunday. But on our other shows this week, we got some cool stuff. Tomorrow's sneak preview is top 5 least anticipated movies.
Yeah.
Explain that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So due to some scheduling changes, Caleb and I have already recorded that episode, and it's us just shitting on 10 movies that we both just do not care about that are coming out this year. We didn't think we'd hit an hour. We went well over an hour, just being negative for a little bit. And he disagrees with some of mine. I disagree with some of his, but there's some mutual ground there where we really went off on some movies. So it's going to be an entertaining one. I recommend checking it out.
Hell yeah. I'll definitely check that one out. Again, that drops tomorrow on January 31st. And then on Wednesday, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night. Let's go. That's Filmgazm through and through.
As per the cycle, this is Caleb's pick. It's a childhood favorite of his. He's been a lifelong Tales from the Crypt fan, and he's excited to introduce this film to me. So I'm, as always, we got open arms when it comes to recommendations. So bring it on.
Perfect. Sounds great, man. And then on Beyond the Bad on Friday, The Island of Dr. Moreau. I don't think I've heard of that movie.
This is considered one of the worst films of all time. One of the biggest disastrous productions in film history. 1996, Marlon Brando and Val Kilmer.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The ego fueling this production, I'm pretty sure just caused it to collapse inside of itself like a neutron star. So I'm excited to just look into what happened here and watch this train wreck. I can't wait.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. We got a good week coming up. Real random.
Yeah, I love it. We got 4 tight shows, random, off the wall shit going off on all 4 shows. It's we're in a good place with this.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm having a lot of fun. So, and this episode was great. It's a little birthday gift to myself, so I had a good time.
Happy birthday, man.
yeah, man. So I'll see you next week for Lilies of the Field. Hopefully these shows go really well. I can't wait to listen to top 5 least anticipated because I'm curious. I'm curious what y'all are. There might be stuff that I want to see.
Maybe. So far, it's just blockbusters announced. Like all the indie stuff, we kind of learn about it along the way. I'm pretty sure you're going to be on board with us on this one.
Hell yeah. Awesome. I'll let you guys know. Good stuff, man. All right. Well, hopefully you guys are following us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Filmgazm. It's always Filmgazm on those social medias, and keep checking out our stuff because like Connor said, we're in a good place right now.
Oh yeah, man.
All right. See you later, brother.